Hi guys, we're back in my little vlogging corner again to do another casual video. I just think it's so much easier to use the natural light and to film here. But sadly the way that my room is set up, you just can't see the bookshelves. But I think that's okay. Okay? You're just gonna have to deal with it. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I DNF so far this year. I talked about this on my TikTok, but I want to talk about this on my channel just in case anybody else was curious. This year I've been trying to work on DNFing books more often. I've gotten bad at it within the last few months, but the beginning of the year I was really good at DNFing books. So I just want to go through the books that I DNF with you and tell you why. Just because on TikTok I couldn't really get into it because you only get like a certain amount of minutes, and you know I like to talk. So okay, I DNF'd a lot this year. Okay, so the first book of the year I DNF'd was The Bone Shard Daughter. I got 17% into the book and I just found it very boring. The world building was confusing, which I'm fine with being confused in a fantasy, but I also didn't feel attached to any of the characters. You know, I love like, I don't know, I just like reading fantasy books for characters to be fun. I like a funny character. I like a brooding character. I like a bunch of different types of characters, and I felt like these characters were just very bland and I just couldn't find myself being attached to any of them. So I just went ahead and DNF'd it. I'm sure it's a good book. I think I could be convinced to maybe give it another try just because I feel so bad for DNFing it. I want to like it, but I didn't care about the plot and I didn't care about the characters. The Winter and the Witch, I cannot be convinced. I'm so sorry. I was just bored. I'm not really good at reading series. I DNF'd this one 20% through. And I rated it because I sat through the entire series, and like the first two books were really good. I did start to get a little bored towards the second one, and then the third one just wasn't that good to me. I'm already not good at reading series to begin with, and so I read this series in one go. I just read them back to back to back, which I don't think was very helpful. I think that actually hurt it, like how I felt about the series, as we can see, because my enjoyment like kept depleting. But I just found it very boring. A lot of the things I liked in the first book just weren't there in this book, and I know this is a lot of people's favorites, but I couldn't do it anymore. Then I have Getting His Game Back, which I didn't even say anything. I didn't give, like, when I DNF'd it, nothing. I think I literally started this book, read like a chapter and DNF'd it. I think it might have been because of the way that the author talked about race in the book and dating outside of your race. We know that I like to date outside my race, but I do feel like people are really weird when it comes to interracial dating, and I think that the way that the author went about it in this book just made me feel uncomfortable, so I decided to DNF it. Getting His Game Back, which is a hockey romance, I DNF'd this one 25% through. The chemistry just wasn't there. I wasn't feeling the chemistry at all. I know this is supposed to be like a hockey romance, male enemies to lovers, so I just decided to check out By Sin I Rise. This is a mafia romance. I didn't even say why I DNF'd this book. I really don't know why I DNF'd this one. I think it's just because I'm not into mafia romances anymore. But back in my Wattpad days when I was like in high school, I loved me a good mafia book. I love me a good mafia book, a good Wattpad mafia book. But I realized like the mafia books that are out now, like published mafia books, just aren't good to me. They all read the same. They all have like the same kind of men and same kind of plot lines. It's just like different characters, and it's just different white girls with white men, and it's just like not entertaining to me. So I think I picked this up and I just wasn't fucking with it, and I was just like, all right, gotta go. Then I have Broken Whispers, which one of my friends on Twitter read this book and they were raving about it, so I decided, and they don't read a lot of romance, so I decided to give it a try. Girl, I opened this book and this book was a bag of shit. I am so sorry. Like, I started reading this book, I was said, what the hell am I reading? It just was not good. I think I didn't get that far. I think I read like 2 pages and I just couldn't do with the writing. It's another mafia romance. I checked out the mafia romance genre. The genre is just not for me anymore. I can't do it. Sorry. Then I have Threads of Fate, which I DNF'd at 10%. I DNF'd this one because this is a spider romance. Now, we all know I don't know. I love a monster romance. I'm a monster romance girly, don't get me wrong. But I didn't, and you would think by the cover I would have realized that. But when I looked at the cover, I did not. I did not see the spider leg until after I started reading the book. So I just don't do spiders. I read a horror book that took place around spiders, and I couldn't do it. I finished it only because it was short. I actually had a sci-fi book that has spiders in it, and I recently gave it away because I don't do spiders. I don't do giant spiders. When I was a kid, I watched a horror movie that had to do with giant spiders coming to eat people, and ever since then I've been traumatized. And just thinking of like a spider roaming, like I just couldn't do it, in the little legs and the spider. Ugh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I thought I tried. I really wanted to. It's a black author. The cover's beautiful. It's monster romance. Like, that's literally the least favorite thing about genres that get popular, is waiting for black and POC authors to get picked up in those genres. I'm still waiting for more black authors and POC authors to be in the dark academia genre, right? Whenever something becomes popular, it's just so hard to find BIPOC authors or characters in those genres. So for me to read a monster romance is a really diverse genre. That's why I love it. I can always find a character. Like, if I want to, like, I get tired of romances a lot because I'm like, I am so sick and tired of reading about like white people, and I'm more so talking about the popular books. I like to read the popular books to keep up with the girlies, and so I don't mind reading a unpopular BIPOC. Like, that's mostly what I read, is unpopular BIPOC like romance authors. But whenever I had to stop reading the popular ones because I'm like, I am so sick and tired of reading about white women. So when I read like a monster romance and the main character is BIPOC, I'm like, or the author is BIPOC, I'm just like, yes bitch, like, give it. So the fact that I picked this up, I read another book by the author, I thought it was fun, I picked this up, I couldn't get through it. It kills me deeply inside, killing me softly, because I can't do it. The next book I have is Phasma. This is a Star Wars book. This is more so a soft DNF. This was like one of the first books I tried to read when I was reading the Star Wars canon books, which is basically the books that are considered canon ever since Disney took over. Yeah, so I read it. I didn't really care for it. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was just really trying to get into the tea, because I had just got done reading The High Republic, but I still want to read some more Star Wars. Wasn't for me. What Moves the Dead? Listen, T. Kingfisher is not the author for me, and I need to realize that. I have a rule where I, like, just like how I have like a favorite author rule, where it's like I need to read 3 books by you in a series in order for me, I have to read 3 books by you, not in a series, and give them all 5 stars in order for you to be considered a favorite author. I need to read 3 books by you in order for me to just be like, I don't want to read you as an author anymore. I've read like 5 T. Kingfisher books, don't like any of them. DNF some of them, gave most of them 2 stars. I've read different genres too, so it's not even like, oh, I'm just reading the horror. Like, I've read a fantasy book, I've read a horror. Like, I just cannot get into T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher is not the author for me. I realized that. It hurts my heart dearly because I just feel like I would love T. Kingfisher, but I think that their plots are fucking boring. I think that T. Kingfisher is boring. I'm so sorry to say it, but I do. So I had to DNF What Moves the Dead, and this one started off good. If I remember correctly, this is the one about the girl who ends up moving back to her hometown, and she goes and works in a museum. It's the fall of the House of Usher, which is a Edgar Allan Poe retelling. Yeah, I don't remember what this is about, but it sucked. So then I read Cult Classic. This is like, back last summer I had me like a sad girl era, and this book was talked about a lot in that era. This book is about this girl who like lives in New York, and she works in a convenience store, I think, and then her exes she just keeps running into her exes, and it's starting to get weird because she has like exes from like Switzerland, like, I don't know, I just made that up, but like exes that don't live where she lives, so she's like, what the fuck? And it's just going through that, and it's supposed to have a weird ending, which I will sit there and read a book for an ending, as we know. But I couldn't sit through this book. It was quick too. I just couldn't sit through this book. Maybe I'll pick it back up and give it another try. It was just so fucking boring from the jump. From the jump? How do you start off a book and you're boring? What kind of sense is that? It was boring from the jump. So couldn't get into it. Had to DNF. Then I have a book called Game On. I've read another book by this author. Cover is super pretty. This one is about like video games, and I'm in my gamer girl era, sorta, kinda, not really. I'm in my Switch gaming era, my cozy gaming era. And so I'm in my gaming era, so I decided to check this book out because I thought I would be able to relate to it. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I didn't understand what was going on. I just couldn't understand a single thing that was happening. Like, and I'm like, this is a romance book. I shouldn't be, I don't mind being confused, but this is a romance book. I shouldn't be confused. Like, I could not figure out anything that was happening, why things were happening, for the life of me. So I just decided to DNF it. I said, maybe I'm just not a gamer girl the way that I thought. So I just got up out of there. And then lastly, this is a recent DNF, and that is The Appeal. This might be a soft DNF, but it is a murder mystery. The point of the book is to try and figure out who did it with the characters before the book ends, which I love those type of books, because I think my issue is that I want to love thrillers, but I'm always trying to figure out who did it and why, and the point of thrillers is not to try to figure out who did it. That's not the point of it. So I think I might be a murder mystery girly, or like one of those books where you're just like, you got to figure out who did it before the book ends, because we're like, that's the whole point. Because like in thrillers, I'll figure it out before it ends, and then I'll be bored, or like it'll be very obvious, where I need to read more books where that's the point, right? So I picked this up. Mixed media. I love me some mixed media. It's told in like emails, but I love it. It's told in like emails, and like the audiobook was so fun. Like, so it's about these characters who are in this play, and I thought it was so fun because it was a character mapping out how the characters were in the play were related to each other, and you could hear like the writing and the taking off the sticky note, or like someone would write down someone's number, you could hear like them writing down the note and then taking off the sticky note. It was just so fun, and I was listening to it and reading it, the ebook with it, and it just, I love the cover. I love the cover to all this author's books, but it was boring. I was 20% into the book. No one died yet. I was like, all right, that's why I'm like, nobody even, I'm trying to figure out the murder mystery. Nobody's even dead yet. We're 20% into the book. What are you doing? So I think I might have just stopped reading the book right when I couldn't sit through it no more. I was doing a video, so I might go back to it because I do think it could be fun. But listen, I gotta put me first, and I was not having fun, baby. So I had to check the fuck out. Yeah, those are all the books that I've DNF'd so far this year. I don't think I could be convinced to pick up any of them. Like, I already have my mind set on like the ones I might pick up. But yeah, I hope that you like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.